Welcome into First and 10. Today, we are going to be talking about the college football playoffs. If you guys watched our last live show, we actually talked a little bit about the playoffs, but we wanted to bring it back into this episode and talk about some prospects in the 2026 draft that have looked really good throughout the college football playoffs. We have 7 predetermined names, and then afterwards, we're going to kind of spitball some 2027 guys that are playing well and some other 2026 guys that we don't have predetermined. So, with that said, B. Ross, for starters, how are you doing? How have you been enjoying the college football playoffs?
Oh,
And we'll get started on these names.
yeah, man. First off, I'm great. Happy Friday, everybody. Hope
Same
y'all
here.
had a great week. Second of all, college football playoffs it's been kind of going exactly how I thought it would in terms of just like you need stars, you need star power, you need good players. And the guys we're going to talk about are, some are more known than others, but when you look at the success of these teams, it's because they have star football players. So let's get into it.
All right, we're going to start with a player who, look, I love this guy, Elijah Surratt. On the season for Elijah
You
Surratt, by the way,
do.
6'2", 213 pounds. You guys can see the grades on your screen. 88.1 overall grade, 89.1 receiving grade. On the year, 802 receiving yards, 61 receptions on 81 targets. Let me see how many drops he has. On the year, he only has 3 drops on the season, 15 receiving touchdowns. In the past 2 games, you take out, or you're talking about Alabama and Oregon. Versus Alabama, 4 for 40 and a touchdown. This past week versus Oregon, a game in which Indiana just put straight belt to ass. I mean, it wasn't even close. It was a complete destruction. 7 of 7 for 75 and 2 touchdowns. I love this guy. If you guys watched our mock draft with Broshmo, we were kind of talking a little bit about Elijah Surratt. I think he's a back of round one
Yep.
guy. I truly do believe that he brings a culture to your game, a good size element to his game. He's not the fastest guy in the world. I think his route tree is okay. I think his routes in general are just solid. He reminds me a lot of Jaden Higgins in some ways in terms of the way I kind of
I can
viewed
see
him as a
that.
player. But good
I can
length,
see
good
that.
size, could win contested catches. He's not going to be your number one, but as a really good number 2 option, I think he's great. I would love to see him go to Las Vegas and continue his playing years with Fernando Mendoza. But B. Ross, what have you seen from Elijah Surratt, and where do you kind of stand on him in terms of entering into getting towards the Combine, Senior Bowl? Where are you at right now with Elijah?
Yeah, so I mean, you hit it on the head. Like he's a productive player, but he has size, he has length, and he's strong. That's why I actually really like him. Like I like football players in general who just are naturally just strong guys in
Mhm.
terms of how they play. And he's one of those guys. Like the way able to win contested balls is not because he's just has good hands. He's strong. Like he takes the ball. Like he plays with strength at the point of attack. Um, but going into the spring and like the testing stuff, this is either going to make him or break him, honestly,
Mm.
because he doesn't play fast. Like he plays with good tempo and pace, but he's not a overly fast guy. But so with that being said, his testing numbers are going to mean everything when you talk about translating. Well, why does he struggle to separate? Because he's not fast. But if he runs faster than what people think, he'll be fine. The issue is going to come if he runs slower, then he's going to fall down some boards. That's just the nature of the business. Because um, when you watch his tape, he's a good football player, but he's a better football player than he is overall athlete. That's not going to help him in the spring. The spring is all about being a good athlete. It has very little to do with actual football. That's why guys go up. That's why some guys come down. You know, it's about the athlete portion of it. And like athletically, he can do certain things in terms of his length, his strength, and his size. It's about speed and quickness. That's not where his game lies. So it'll be interesting to see like how he does in the football aspect of things in terms of testing. I mean, in terms of actually playing the interviews and things like that, he's going to crush that.
Oh
At the
yeah.
Senior Bowl, he's going to crush that stuff. Like I've heard nothing but great things about the kid. So that's going to help him. But with that being said, he's going to have to perform well at the Senior Bowl too versus consistent competition where he's seeing really good football players day in and day out. He's going to have to perform well, but it'd be very interesting to see what he runs and how he tests because that's going to shape the rest of his April.
We got a comment from Hoosier Dave. He was rated a 0 star. So, and by the way, a lot of these Indiana guys, I mean, everyone knows this, came from JMU. So we're not
MU.
talking 5-star,
Yep,
4-star guys. We're talking about guys that
yep.
have been grinding in the weight room, putting in the work, learning the scheme, and really taking
Mhm.
over and really learning their craft. So, also, Dan, got to know what y'all thinking about the championship game this Monday. We'll talk about that towards the end of this live stream. We'll
For
talk about our
sure.
predictions. Which, by the way, was I 2 for 2 in my predictions?
Were.
Hey, now
You picked them.
I picked them. But yeah, Elijah Surratt, man, really good player. I do believe that, again, we're talking probably an early day 2 selection here. And real quick, what do you think his
Yeah.
40 time is going to be? Because I believe it's going to be like a 4,
Ooh.
could be 4.6 or 4.58, something like that.
I think he runs. It depends. Two things. Where does he run? If he runs in Indy, it's going to be slow.
Mm, yeah.
I guarantee it. And like people talk about the lasers, listen, teams don't even take those laser times. We don't use those. If you look at the combine, it's scouts at the 10, 20, and 40-yard mark for 32 teams. Those are the times they take. The handheld times are faster than the laser times usually, sometimes slower, but usually faster. But those are the times teams take. Everything's going to come down to just who in the building likes the kid. Because if I like a kid and I need him to run 4.53, guess what? My clock is going to say 4.53 or less. That's just what it is. I don't care. If you don't like him, you're going to say he's running 4.6 today.
Yep.
You can literally sway things in that manner as a scout sometimes, but I think he runs 4.5, like mid 4.5, like 4.55 to 4.58.
Yeah.
If he
That'd be a
runs
good
slower
number.
than that, if he runs slower than that, he's going to have to run again at his pro day, and he should run faster. But guys don't like Kyle Hamilton. Kyle Hamilton ran 4.7
Mm,
like 6 times, bro.
I remember that.
I mean, and like it shows in his play because he can't cover. He can play downhill, but as soon as you open him up, like you see 4.7 on his tape. So I hopefully he keeps it on the 4.6. He keeps it on the 4.6. He has a great chance to your point of going early day 2.
All right.
Maybe sneaking in the back of day 1.
I'm telling you, these Indiana guys are going to go early. Let's move over to not an Indiana player, but a guy from Miami. And by the way, we have a number of Miami guys we're going to talk about. We got a few more Indiana guys and a number of Ole Miss guys too, but we got a big stretch of Miami players to talk to real quick. Mark Fletcher. So Mark Fletcher on the season. Let me pull up his stats real quick. As you can see on your screen, 86.8 overall PFF grade. And again, PFF grades, take them as you will, but I think they're a decent indicator as to how good of a player you are. If you have a good PFF score, you're probably pretty good. 86.8 overall grade, 92.0 run grade, 1,072 rushing yards, 10 touchdowns, and only 1 fumble. But he is making his dough, making his bread in this postseason run. All the way back, Texas A&M, he had 17 attempts for 172 yards, kind of took over that game a little bit, especially later as the game went on. Game versus Ohio State, 19 carries for 90 yards. He did have a fumble in that game, but still a really productive day. And then Ole Miss, 23 attempts, 125 yards. He's been the focal point of that Miami offense. It has been hand the ball off to Mark Fletcher, Carson Beck take care of the football, and Carson Beck also had a
Yep.
game-winning drive, so give Carson his flowers. But been a productive year for Mark Fletcher. Now Fletcher has not announced that he's going to be in the 26th draft, and me and B-Ross are kind of talking about it, and I think you kind of swayed my opinion on him a little bit. I was thinking, yeah, it might be a good idea to cash in now, but realistically speaking, you're not going to be a day 1 pick. Like, you're just probably not, and you're
He's
maybe not
not.
even going to be a round 2 pick. So earliest we're talking round 3, round 4, round 5. How much is a round
Go
3
back
guy
to school.
making? Like a couple, maybe like a million?
Total probably like a million and some change, like
Yeah.
total.
And Miami, I would venture to say, would have a $2 million check with your name written on it. So I guess the question for Mark is like, do you want to, what's your biggest goal here? Is your goal to make it to the league? Because if so, now might be the best time. But if your goal
League
is
now,
to,
right?
your goal is to build a legacy at Miami, potentially win a national championship, leave on a high note, then I guess now would be the best time. My big concern if he does go back in 2027, or sorry, does go back for 2026 and 27, you're going to put more wear and tear on your body. And you're already a pretty big dude. He stands at 6'2". PFF doesn't have his weight, but I'd venture to say he's probably at least 220 or so. So
225.
yeah,
They got less than
225.
that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I just feel like adding that extra little bit of work on your body is never a good idea for any running back. So you can kind of go back and forth on what you're thinking here. That all said, Mark Fletcher, good running back, not necessarily a good receiving threat, right? That's not really his game. 16 receptions on the year, a couple drops to his name, 3 drops specifically on only 20
Mhm.
targets. So not much of a receiving threat, but as a running back, he does give you a good power element.
He
I
does.
wouldn't, he's not a speed demon or anything like that. He's going to run probably a 4.5, maybe 4. Yeah, I've said 4.5 around that range, but he can chop his feet a little bit. He can get
Ooh,
those extra
I think he's running
yards.
4.6 all
I
day.
think he's getting 4.5. I think he'll run 4.5. He'll
I
put
saw him
work
trying
in
to
the
break
offseason.
free. He just doesn't have like a second gear. Whatever his top speed is, he's like a heavy bus. Like, you
Hey,
ever seen a bus try to like
yeah,
pull, like get to full speed and get over? Can't
takes a
do
little
it.
bit. Yeah.
It's just like
Yep.
Mark Fletcher running, which is, I mean, that's just the way he's built. So it's natural. Like it's naturally. I mean, that's why Derrick Henry is an anomaly. That's
Mm.
why, because he's a jet, but he's built like a bus.
When we did our running back rankings, did you do the running back rankings with us?
Mhm,
Okay, so we did our running back
mhm.
rankings, and I remember
I had him like 11 or 12,
I
I
did too. I
think.
can't remember if he was in my
Like I
top
liked
10,
him,
but
but I couldn't. Yep,
yeah, I
I
kind of
couldn't
had
put him higher.
issues with because he was this big, strong, physical dude, but he kind of ran a little upright. He was a little bit
Yep,
slower, and it was like I just kind of struggle to put him in this top 10. Admittedly speaking, with the way he's kind of ended the season off here these past 3 weeks, makes me kind of want to reevaluate this year. And plus, we've had guys leave, like Trey Wisner's back back to college. Hollywood Smothers is
right.
back to college. A number of big names. Justice Haynes is also back in college. So the
Right.
running back board, we'll update that probably after the combine once we get official numbers on these guys. But I kind of think if Fletcher's in this draft, he'll be in my top 10. And I think he'll probably end up being around 5 or 6 for me. I think that's kind of where I stand on because I still like Emmett Johnson a lot more. And again, you have to understand that while Fletcher has
Yeah,
been really good in college, if I just don't know if his game's going to translate very well in the NFL level unless you can become
right.
an anomaly like Derrick Henry because he is so big and he runs so upright. He's also so tall. And it's just kind of a weird body
Yep.
type.
He is, and like with that being said, I think he'll have like a lot of early success because teams in the NFL don't practice tackling. So he is going to have where some games, some runs where he shows that strength and that ability to break tackles. The issue going to come is like once teams kind of figure out how they have like can plan to tackle him. Once they see it on tape, oh, this is how he goes down easiest. That's what teams are going to do. And then I don't think he has a counter for that because he's just limited as an athlete. So, like, I can see him having like a 2, 3 year, like a pretty good stretch early on. And he is what he is. And then, he hangs around as like a goal line short yardage guy. Like, he just doesn't offer too much more because he doesn't have any juice. So, um, I don't know. I mean, personally, I would go back to school if I were him and just collect the
Get the
check
bag.
because,
Yeah.
yeah, because like truthfully, like, what is his like real upside? Like, is he from even if he rushed for, let's say he rushed for 1,500 next year, he's still not going first round.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like nothing is going to change about the actual player. His production might change. He can do it in less carries and it looks prettier. Maybe the team's a little bit better around him, so he gets a little bit more liner boxes and he runs for more. But the player doesn't act, I don't think he changes. I don't think his upside is too much different from what it is now. So you might as well go back to school, put another 250 plus carries on your body. But at least you'll be, another 2 million up. Why not?
He kind of reminds me a little bit. Now he's a little taller than this guy, about 2 inches
You thinking?
taller. I'm thinking like Jay Ajayi a little bit, who had a couple really good years. Now I think Jay had better
I can
feet
see that.
than Mark
Yeah.
Fletcher. Fletcher's a lot more taller, but in terms of like they're big dudes, they work well in between the line of scrimmage, work well between
Hmm.
the hashes. You're not going to really work them too much in zone. I mean, Fletcher can do it a little bit. Jay Ajayi did a decent bit of that too, but not the freakiest of athletes, but
That's not a
just
bad
they
comp.
were just pretty quality role players for their teams for several years. And I was kind of
Yep.
looking at Jay Ajayi's comp. They were comparing him to Marshawn Lynch, quote unquote. So
Uh,
there's some similarities I would say there, but yeah, I think Mark Fletcher is a name to keep an eye on, especially if he does decide to enter into this year's draft.
You know who Fletcher reminds me of? Because I played with this dude.
Who?
I don't think his feet are as good though, or he's not the pass catcher, but a James Starks.
Hmm. Okay.
Tall, kind of
Yeah.
slow feet. Takes a little bit to get going, but once he gets going, it's like is a train. But Starks had like really like he had really gifted hands for a bigger back. Like he was gifted as a pass catcher for his size.
Yeah, I'm trying to find his
Um,
height.
6'2".
So there you go, 6'2".
He was about 6'2", about 220. But that's who he kind of reminds me of,
He ran
just
a
in
four
terms of
five
like
though. That's the only difference. I think.
Starks can move now. I learned
Yeah.
that the hard way. Yeah. Oh yeah.
All right.
He caught me slipping. I mean, I'm like, oh, I got an easy tackle. He cut back. He
Mm,
ran up my chest. I mean, I made the tackle, but I paid for that shit.
you're on your back.
What? I made it like this.
They, you got him down. That's all that matters. All right. Move over to our next
Barely.
player. Well, we
Who
talked
we
about a
got?
6'2" beast. Let's talk about a 5'9", maybe 5'7", 5'8" beast. D'Angelo Pons. So D'Angelo
He's
Pons,
nice with football.
we are all fans of D'Angelo Pons, mainly because I'm a big fan of Pons just because he is the ultimate underdog story. He is
Yep.
tiny and he looks tiny out there. He's 5'9", he might even be 5'8". He could be 5'10". He's a shorter guy for sure. 173 pounds. He is light, but man, is he a baller. Like he just balls out. And I would say probably his I thought he played okay versus Ohio State. And you know what, dude,
Yeah,
he got a lot of work targets and maybe gave up a
he
reception or
did.
two. He kept fighting, kept making plays, but he's been so good in this postseason run. Game versus Alabama was great. Game versus Oregon specifically starts the game off with a pick six, and that right there, I mean, that's a complete game-changing play right there.
Yeah.
For his season stats, an 85.6 coverage grade and 86.1 defensive grade, so just overall grade. He is a true boundary corner for Indiana. 618 snaps on the outside, only 89 snaps in the slot, which is not very typical for a guy of his stature. And to anyone who thinks
Yeah,
that this
nah.
guy is a 1 year wonder, like this is his only good year productivity, it's not the case. Last year
It
for
is not.
Indiana, 85.0 coverage grade. At James Madison, 89.3 coverage grade. If this guy was 6'2", 6'3", he'd probably be a first round pick. He had 7 picks in 3 years this year, 2 interceptions, hasn't given up a single touchdown. Um, the size, man, it's such a frustrating thing with this guy because he has everything going for him. Good athlete, fluid hips. He is
Yep.
physical. You know, he's a willing tackler. Again, if you put on 30 pounds, this guy make him 206 foot flat. We're having him in the round one, early round two convo, but size is going to really limit him. And unfortunately, because
Yeah.
he's played so much boundary corner, the thought process of maybe saying, hey, he can work inside as a slot guy is a bit more of a projection more than something that he's actually done. But if DJ Reed has shown us anything, shorter cornerbacks can work. So D'Angelo Pons having a great year, great postseason run. What are your thoughts on Pons?
Yeah, he's one of those guys. If I was scouting him, I would respect his game. I would never bring him to Green Bay. This I don't do 5'9" corners. Like that was
Respect
a
from
rule.
afar.
That was a rule. Like if you weren't 5'10" and up, we didn't even like we graded you accordingly, but you weren't.
We didn't consider you.
Can't do it
Yeah.
because it's just because at some point, like the physics of the game will always win.
Yep.
Just always and forever. 6'4" always beats 5'9". You know what I mean? Like he might have a rep or two or a game rolling. End of the day, that ball goes high enough. There's nothing you can do. That's just the physics of it. So, but you're talking about a hell of a football player, and he should be able to transition to nickel rather easily because boundary corner is a physical position because you get a lot of runs to your side and you play a lot more press than the field corner. Um, I did both, and I used to love the boundary because I could play press, get my hands on people, never have to run too far, can jump routes, things like that. It allows you to play a lot more aggressive. At nickel, you have to be a little more nuanced and patient and understand so many other things around you because there are so many bodies around you. I think he will do well playing nickel. Again, it's everything's going to come down to how he tests, how he runs, and just his size. Like he's probably 5'9", a buck 75 soaking wet. That's the size I was leaving high school.
Mm, damn.
Like, you know what I mean?
Damn.
Like, I was that size leaving high school.
Mm,
So I'm just like, and like I've seen some small guys have success, but a lot don't, or they have a very limited window of success because once teams kind of figure out, oh, he can't handle this, they just keep doing it till you take it off your tape. The issue is at some point, whether tall or big, it's certain things physically that your body just can't do,
yeah.
that you just struggle with. But he's a hell of a football player. Like he's scrappy, plays with good feet, very, very combative at the catch point. Like he fights every rep. That's why I can appreciate his tape. He's very combative, always competes. But physics of the game right now tells me that if you line him up on Puka
Mm,
20 times, and granted, Puka gives everybody, problems.
mm-hmm.
5'9". It's just Puka 6'2", 220 strong. Like, and can't separate from you, doesn't matter. I'm bigger, I'm stronger. That's the issue that he's going to run into in draft time. Granted, some teams might love him and take him higher than what we expect. Happens every year, but he is going to have to be either really good playing off, and like he's going to have to be like Marcus Jones of the Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm, yeah. Yeah.
elite instincts, great quickness, and like play that type of game. Because outside of that, I just don't see it. But if he can duplicate what a guy like that is doing, who I love that kid coming out of Houston.
Mm-hmm.
So if he can duplicate that sort of game and play with that style and allow to play more off or press and just mix it up so that he can help himself, he'll be just fine. Because mentality, he's a dog.
Yeah. And to kind of your point about the dog mentality, talking about a guy, again, we're talking about 5'9", 170. He's got an 82.0 run defense grade. Last year, 77.4. He's missed 2 tackles all year. I mean, he
That's
has
crazy.
49 tackles on the season, 10 assisted, 49 of them. I guess that'd make what, 39 of those solo tackles.
Hmm?
Two missed tackles all year long, and only 11 in his entire career. A 6.3% missed tackle rate. There are guys, first, second round guys that have a double digit missed tackle rate. So, but I do agree. I think earliest he goes is round 3,
Ooh,
maybe even round
I think he goes
4.
before that
Oh, really? You think round 2? I could
because I'm
see a team
telling you,
falling in love with him. I really
it's
could.
gonna be one team that just loves him. Like, you know what? Screw it. And he's a Miami kid. Like, he's been going against more talented guys or bigger dudes his whole life. So it's
Yeah.
like, oh, whatever. And if he plays well, how I think he is in national championship, it's just the icing on the cake to like take him higher. Why not?
Him
Love
versus
him.
CJ Daniels would be really interesting to me because CJ is
Yeah.
he's a big dude. He's about 6'2", I want to say. So
Hmm.
it'd be a good test for him to kind of gauge. I mean, it's not really a test. He's been doing it for 3 years, but continuing
Right.
testing how he can perform against size. So that's D'Angelo
Absolutely.
Pons. Somebody said I need to get a cowboy hat. I know. I'll get one eventually. We'll rock the double
I'll get you
Cowboys.
one.
We
You
need
just
we need to get a
I
first
just
and
gotta
10
find your
one.
size.
We need to get a
I
first and 10
do.
one.
Matter of
That's what we
fact,
need to do.
you know what?
Me, Cade, we're working on the hats. We'll get that done. I promise. All right. Talk about
We got next,
a fossil, Akeem Mesidor.
bro.
Look,
He's
I
gonna
think,
find you one day for calling him a fossil.
and he'll probably kick my ass. All right, Akeem Mesidor, 6'3", 280 pounds, will be 25 years old on draft night, which means by the time you get to his second contract, he will be nearing
Right.
30. Yeah, he'll be 30 years old. With that said, though, Akeem Mesidor is a standout player who's getting some first round buzz. Correct me if
Yes.
I'm wrong, but when we did the mock last week, wasn't Akeem in the first round? I think he was with Mel Kiper. Yeah.
Hmm.
So this
Yep.
guy's getting
He
first round,
was.
like genuine first round buzz. And by the way, I've been doing mock drafts where it's like, okay, if the Chicago Bears really want to find a pass rusher, Akeem makes a lot of sense. Kind of a win now guy. You're not going to see this guy go to a team that needs a
Fair.
project. This is a plug and play starter. But I mean, when you look at the numbers this year, he's been doing this for a while. Got started in 2020, 6-year senior, started off at West
Crazy.
Virginia, transferred over to Miami. He's been here for a while, but when you look at the numbers on the season, 92.1 overall grade, 91.9 pass rushing grade, 11 sacks on the season, 48 hurries on the year, 27 tackles, 13 assisted tackles. We talked about D'Angelo Pons has 2 missed tackles all year. Akeem Mesidor has 11 of those things. So more of a credit to Pons more than anything. But yeah, really productive year. By the way, 90.0 run defense grade too. Kind of a 3-down guy with good size, good length, can fit in a 3-4 if you want to play him as an end. 4-3, he'd be your traditional edge rusher. Kind of works out however you want to work him in. But he's strong at the point of attack. He's got good bend around the corner, a nice set of pass rush moves. I mean, you'd want the guy who's a 6-year senior to have a set of pass rush moves, but he's got those moves to his game. The only thing, one of the only knocks in his game, can work on tackling, and he's going to be 25 years old, right? So, but mainly the big reason why we're talking about him now, he had 2 sacks versus Ohio State. Ruben Bain and him just completely took over that game. And versus Ole Miss, despite the fact that I didn't think he was incredible, the dude went out there, hurt his arm, very next drive, put on a brace, was right back out there playing again.
Question. Yeah.
That is just something different. Now, I don't know if he's gonna play in the championship game. I would imagine he probably will.
He's gonna play.
So that'll be freaking awesome. But yeah, really sound, really good player. Again, heard some first round buzz. I kind of think he's more of a day 2 guy. But what are your thoughts on Akeem Mesidor?
Yeah, like these older guys are always tough because take him in round 1. You're saying you got him for 5 years, guaranteed, right?
Yeah.
Give him the 5th-year option. To your point, I think a team like the Bears makes sense. You are in win now mode. Why? Because your quarterback is on his rookie deal. Patriots, Bears, Broncos, things of that nature with young quarterbacks who are in the playoffs this year, things like that. Or if your quarterback's already paid, he makes sense for a team. I think he has game versatility. What I love about him though is he has very violent hands. Like he has heavy, violent hands. Run and pass game. If he wants to set an edge and wreck everything, he can do that. If he wants to run through you, around you, like to your point, he has a arsenal of moves. I mean, granted, he is, quarter century years old. So it makes sense. But with that being said, he's been like since I want to say the SMU game they lost, like they've just been like that D line in general, but he has been playing better and better. Like you saw the ramp up and like once the playoffs come, I tell people all the time, you think the NFL is an adjustment, and it is, it's fast. Playoff football, you want to see guys like play full speed, it's scary. It's so much faster. And you see that in the way he's playing the game. I just to your point, like the age thing, I don't know how high you take him because of that. You just say, you know what, I think I get a good contract out of him, maybe 1 or 2 year deal after that, and then he's probably retiring.
Yeah. After 2
Think
contracts,
about
he
it.
probably will, honestly.
He's done. Yeah, like
But
he just
the one thing I'll say though, there are perks to being an older prospect as well. If you're a team that's in a championship window that needs a mature player that
yeah.
doesn't need to develop, you need that guy to be an instant contributor. Take, for example, Dallas Cowboys, right? They need an instant contributor off the edge. You add an Akeem
Off the
Mesidor
edge.
to this team. I mean, Dak's
Do you t-
31, 32
do you
years
take
old.
him? You take him round 1 though,
Hmm.
because the issue lies in a guy that talented coming back to you in the 2nd round. Like what are the chances?
If you
Granted, it is a deep pass rushing class and it's versatile in what
mhm.
you want to get. Just but like he's 6'2" and a half, 6'3", 280, good pass rusher.
if you're a
Like at
team
his
that's
ceiling.
yeah, if you're a team that's like in a win now mode and you're picking like San Francisco, for example, they're trying to win a championship now, and your options
Yep.
are Joshua Josephs or Akeem Mesidor, I would lean Akeem Mesidor. Even though I think Joshua has a higher ceiling as a player, we're
Right.
in a win now mode. We need a guy to step in immediately and be a contributor. Joshua Josephs might take a year or 2 to get there. Akeem
Yeah.
Mesidor, with his age, with his development, he should be in your rotation immediately, if not a starter for you. So there are actually some perks, and I mean, there's obviously cons to it. The biggest con being that probably about a third of the league is going to take you off the board just because you're 25. But the other 2/3, teams that are willing to be okay with the fact you're going to be an older prospect. I don't know if he goes round 1, but early round 2, late round 1, with the way the class is kind of set up, I could see it. And by the way, you talked about their loss to SMU. That was so Akeem Mesdor had back-to-back games without a sack, 52.2 pass rush grade versus Louisville, 70.8 pass rush grade versus SMU, but 0 sacks. He would follow it up with 2 sacks Syracuse, a sack NC State, a sack Virginia Tech, a sack
Yep.
A&M, 2 sacks Ohio State.
He's just been rolling since. I'm telling you,
Yeah, he's
like
been rolling.
that loss versus SMU because I was under the like I don't know how the ACC does their conference now because whatever happened this year did not make sense.
Yeah.
We didn't see Miami versus Virginia in the ACC final game. Duke won it, but
Duke.
yeah, I don't understand none of that because that just doesn't make sense.
A
I don't care what
four-loss
no one said.
team. Yeah, it was crazy.
Wins the conference, nowhere near the playoffs, not even ranked.
And they just lost their quarterback too.
So all that happens, but I was watching that team and I'm sitting there like, let's see how they respond. And like they haven't given like their worst game was like defensively was versus a very good Ole Miss offense. I mean, they gave 10, 7, 17, 7, 3, 14, and then 27. Like they were rolling on defense, and he was a big reason why his play picked up. So yeah, I don't think anyone will take him off the board, but like they might have a second round talent in the top of the fifth round. Like, all right, if he's sitting here, we got to take him
Oh yeah, yeah.
because you know what I mean. Like that's where it'd be interesting to see like if like teams are like kind of all on board. Like I need to take him this high. He's going to fall. I'd rather take the high upside guy now and this guy later. You know, I'm curious to see where he falls in the draft because it'll be telling of what the league thought of him as a whole.
All right, let's move over to. Well, we'll keep this conversation pretty short and sweet. His running mate, Ruben Bain Jr., who we've talked about at what feels like nauseum at this point, but he has been incredible throughout this postseason run. So we'll keep this one short just because there's other names we'd like to go a bit further into, and we've talked about him so much. But we did want to bring up the pure dominance. He's been unbelievable this postseason run. So
He
read the numbers
has
real quick. 93.1 overall grade, 92.4 pass rushing grade, 11 sacks on the season, 66 hurries, 31 tackles, and 66 hurries. Where the pressure's at is somewhere there. But big reason why we're talking about him: 3 sacks versus Texas A&M, 86.7 and 1 sack versus Ohio State. And against Ole Miss, if it wasn't for that dude Trinidad Chambliss, who was just balling that game, getting the ball out quick, running for his life. 80.7 grade, did not have a sack, but had multiple pressures on the day. 5 hurries, 7 hurries versus Ohio State, 5 versus Texas A&M. This guy's awesome. Now, the one knock to his game, he's got shorter arms. I personally could care less, to be honest with you. There are
I'm with you.
pros. I mean, there's a lot of cons to having shorter arms. It's easier for these longer tackles to lock you out. Ruben Bain Jr. is so physically gifted. He's so physical. He can move you off the spot. He also has great band athleticism and pass rush diversity to his game. That it's like, sure, he's got like 2-inch shorter arms of what you would like for him to have. I don't
Mhm.
care. He's just so good. Now, with that said, there will be NFL teams out there that are more concerned about the arm length than maybe what we are, right? But I just think he's a really, really good football player. I mean, the 3 sacks versus Texas A&M and the dominant game. I mean, man, he had Austin Saravelt in hell versus Ohio State, in absolute hell. This guy's a stud.
Ben Simon.
Yeah, this guy's a stud. He makes NFL prospects look like amateurs. So, what are your thoughts on Bain? And we'll move on really quickly with him.
Yeah, keep this short and sweet. When you talking about a guy who can bend under a table and like disrupt the game anywhere he lined up. If you watch the Ohio State game and just watch him move from end to D tackle, and then they run stunts where he's on a guard or a center, it's not fair. I don't care how as long as his arms aren't under 30 inches, I could care less. They're over 30, let's keep it rolling. Like, because it doesn't affect him. Like, I'll be interested to see the practice tape between him and Francis Manoa.
Mm,
I know that's some good competitive tape right there. So he's been going against that for the last 3 years. Guess what? I'm not worried.
mm.
He's a hell of a football player. Um, who he his biggest adjustment is just going to be how teams use him.
Yeah,
Once he kind of finds out what his role is and how they're going to use him, he's going to be fine because he knows how to rush the passer and he's disruptive. Like when teams talk about, or when people talk about pass rusher and production, we tend to look at sacks. you look at quarterback pressures and hurries, like that affects the game just as much as sacks. And Ruben Bain is one of the better guys at doing it this year and any years past.
100%. And he does have versatility to play as a 4-3 edge, a 3-4 end. I even think you can use him as an outside linebacker on some downs. Like he just
Yeah,
has that level of versatility to where you can use him in any way. So let's talk about another player real quick. A guy that we have been mean to in the past, and a guy that we have also been nice to a little bit more as of late. Carson Beck, the quarterback for the Miami Hurricanes. Um, we talked about him in the last live show, or the not the last
but
one, but 2 live shows ago. But since that day, he had the game-winning drive versus Ole Miss, where that was kind of his like put up or shut up moment in a sense, where it was like, okay, you've been able to game manage a little bit this year. You've been able to hit the easy throws, to make
yeah,
to get the ball out to your running back, to get the ball out to your weapons, things like that. But can you put together a drive in the fourth quarter with the game on the line, with the fans going crazy, with the chance to go to a national championship? And Carson Beck delivered out there versus Ole Miss. So on the season, 75.3 overall grade, 77.5 passing grade, 3,581 passing yards, 29 touchdowns, and 11 picks. Keep in mind that 4 of those 11 picks came in the game versus Louisville. So
one game.
you just take away the Louisville game, he would have 7 picks on or 7 interceptions on the season. If you want to look at his numbers in the postseason, first Texas A&M, 103 passing yards for 1 touchdown. That was a Mark Fletcher game through and through. First Ohio State, 138, 1 touchdown. Really just game managing that one. But Ole Miss, 268, 2 touchdowns. I had an interception. So Carson Beck to me has been a bit of a standout. And when you look at this
Yep,
quarterback class, it is a one-man show, really. It's Fernando Mendoza. You got Ty Simpson, who's maybe a first or second round talent. And you got Trinidad Chambliss, maybe if even if he does come or doesn't come. And then it's Carson Beck, probably as your
yep.
fourth cleanest option. You can maybe talk yourself into Aller, Nussmeier, Klubnik, but if you just want a surefire hit as a backup quarterback, I think I'd probably just go with Carson Beck. So got to give Carson Beck his flowers. That game-winning drive
Absolutely.
versus Ole Miss was very impressive. So, what are your thoughts on Carson Beck?
Yeah, man. Like I've never been a big fan because people were trying to tell me he was a first round talent, and I'm just like, shoot me and call me crazy. I don't see it. But the more you watch him play, and especially in this playoff run, like you see how he knows how to work through adversity, how to keep his teammates, you know, level headed. Even the game versus Texas A&M, Tony fumbles. First
Yeah.
guy that goes to him, Carson Beck. We're coming back to you. Tony scores a game winning touchdown, the only touchdown of the game. You know what I mean? Like he has certain leadership qualities to him. He's a better athlete than you want to give him credit for because everything flows right versus Ole Miss. No one thinks to worry about contain or rush lanes versus Carson Beck. Why? He doesn't run. Sure enough, he just runs and he's free as a bird walking into the end zone. I think as a prospect though, where everyone's going to have, their doubts. It's just the turnovers. He has double digit turnovers 2 straight years, and in college, double digit turnovers is a lot because the windows are so much bigger. And if you're throwing into tight windows, I mean you're forcing the ball. Like it's a cause and effect type of thing that most quarterbacks can usually control. He has 11 picks this year. Quarter of them came in one game. Well, I mean, and you watch those, they were better interceptions. But with that being said, he only had 3 for the rest of the year. So, I'm not I think he's close to his ceiling, but I think the right offensive coordinator, the right weapons, he can actually have some success in the league. If anyone told me that Kenny Pickett was a first round pick and I didn't see that either, then I'm like, okay, Carson Beck could go first round, maybe should go because I think he's better than Kenny Pickett was
Yeah.
coming out, and that's
Good old
and
Kenny.
that's kind of like my argument in terms of like where he goes. Well, you look at the class, you look at that class. Kenny Pickett was the first quarterback taken at 20. He was the best one. Found out that was a lie. Carson Beck, like why isn't Pittsburgh a good fit for him? That's to me like that's kind of like a great
Well,
fit
you have Will
for
Howard.
the
That'd be
Rams.
that'd be my thing.
Would you rather have Will Howard or Carson Beck?
I'd rather have Will Howard.
Me too, because Pittsburgh O-line sucks.
Well, I also thought Will Howard was, I don't want to say underdrafted. I thought he was probably a fourth round guy that went in like round 6, something crazy. So I view Carson Beck, if Carson Beck had came out, I guess last year's class wasn't great either, but if he had come out last year, he probably would have been behind Will Howard on my big board. Like he
Because
probably would have been Howard and then Beck right behind him. By the
well,
way,
last year
this is
I
way
thought he
off topic.
sucked.
I know, but this is a bit off topic. Would you rather have?
So
And this is way off topic, but I kind of thought about this earlier. Would you rather have Cam Ward or Fernando Mendoza?
Cam Ward.
See, I thought that too, and I had
Cam
some.
Ward.
I said that in one of my recent videos, and I got some flack
Cam
for it,
Ward.
and I was like, Cam Ward was really good.
Different.
Yeah,
Different. Like Cam Ward make throws that dudes who see him Sunday can't make.
yeah. That one of those throws he made to Elakeo Maynard this year
Bro, with
behind his
like a
back.
little he had
Yeah,
a oh my god. Yeah, like Cam Ward throws the windows that are shut and then it's open just enough. You ever like try to like get like a bug out without necessarily killing like it's real quick, just
yeah,
that's how fast those windows open and close and Cam Ward is able to fit the ball in. Like his arm talent is different.
yeah. I agree. All right, sorry to get off topic there, but let's go ahead and move over to the last player that we have predetermined, and probably the one that a lot of you guys were expecting, Trinidad Chambliss. Again, we have to emphasize Trinidad wants to go back to college, but we're not sure if he's going to get that opportunity to do so. This is his first year really playing high-level competition, and boy, did he ball out. 87.8 overall grade, 3,934 passing yards, 585 rushing yards, 30 total touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and he was fantastic in the postseason. Versus Georgia, 362 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. Some of the craziest plays in college football playoff history he was making. Versus Miami, versus that defense, 277 passing yards, a touchdown, and put together what could have been a game-winning drive. If they had one more minute on the
Should
clock,
have been.
I think Ole Miss probably is playing in the national championship right now. Uh, were you gonna say something?
No, I was about to say, yeah, just if Ole Miss knew how to effing tackle, he's playing Fernando Mendoza in that championship. Ole Miss sucked at
100%.
tackling that game. It was terrible. They had 11 missed tackles in the first half.
Hey, Mark Fletcher, man, that's how you do it. Mark Fletcher and CJ Daniels, I should say. CJ Daniels got some size to him, but no, like, man, Trinidad, like, is he a first round guy? Probably not, but
No,
there's people buzzing about that idea. I think he's probably more of a day 2 option for a team that is looking to maybe take a swing at quarterback. Kind of like what the Malik Willis was a second round pick, I want to say. Kind of
second.
like, I think it kind of reminds
Yep.
me a little bit of that, where it's like the Titans took him in rounds 2. You could even take Chambliss in like round 3 and sort of
Yep.
say, we don't have a big time commitment on you, but if you work out, that's sweet. But if not, you're our backup quarterback. We're not mad about it because we spent a 3rd round pick on you instead of a 1st round pick. That's kind of what I see with Chambliss, but assuming he does come out, we don't know if he
Very
will or won't. It's completely up in the air, but this guy was the backup quarterback to start the year off. Everyone thought it was going to be Simmons taking the job. Simmons,
crazy.
I think got hurt or something like that, or just got benched.
Got benched.
Yeah, he got
Just wasn't
benched.
playing well.
Chambliss instantly stepped in there and versus Arkansas, 353 and a touchdown, goes to LSU, 311 and a touchdown, plays Georgia, 263 and a touchdown, plays Oklahoma well, plays South Carolina well, and by the end of the season, it was like, yeah, Trinidad is the truth. And, I think one of the questions we had this year is you kind of look up the season they had. Ole Miss didn't really play a ton of high-level teams, but in the game versus Georgia,
When they did.
and then the game versus Georgia again, and the game versus Miami, he was
Yeah.
unbelievable in those games. So, Trinidad Chambliss, what are your thoughts on him, and where do you think he goes in the draft? Also, what teams do you think are a good fit for him, by the way?
Yeah. So I remember hearing about him from a couple people at Ole Miss. They were telling me like because I remember the Austin kid when I would go there and scout, and but they were telling me about this transfer from Ferris State, and me being a football junkie, I know how good that program is. Like I used to go there actually to scout players, which is
Yeah.
crazy. But they were just telling me like he is better. They're just waiting on opportunity. Like if the kid doesn't work out in any capacity, Trinidad's going to play. I'm like, all right, whatever. Think none of it. I watch him versus Arkansas and watch him the rest of the year. I'm just send a text. You were right. She goes, I know. Like it was that evident to some of those in the building how talented he was. You're talking about a guy who can just make every throw, but like he does it with like just such poise in the pocket. He looks out of control at times because he's running crazy. He's in full control. He sees the field before things happen and he makes some spectacular throws. You got to think about this. He finished third in the nation in passing yards and didn't start how many games? But like that's insane. 22 touchdowns, 3 picks.
Yeah, he didn't play till
Like
week 3. I mean, weeks 1 and 2 he didn't play. So
and week one
yeah,
and two is usually, like your
your stat
whatever
games.
games.
They
Oh my
played Georgia
gosh. So
State week
he
1. Yeah,
so he put he, so you know what I mean? He finished third in the nation in passing. Like that's it's scary. And like he's a real runner of the football. But he's a selective runner. I think he goes day two
if he
to a
does
team
at all.
if he wins that appeal, I actually wouldn't be shocked just because of the way college football is going in terms of trying to get as many years as possible out of these kids. But uh, I
This
would I
this
would
cl-
like to see him.
this class needs him to be in this draft. That's what I'll say.
They do because Mendoza goes one, and after that it's Ty Simpson. Then it goes to Beck, then Klubnik, Drew Aller, who was hurt. Like it's
Yeah,
just a bunch of question marks and long term development. And even the first three guys, like we don't know because Mendoza is going to go into a worse team in the NFL than he has at Indiana or at Cal.
yeah.
So we don't know what that's going to look like for him. Todd Simpson's short. Carson Beckson's consistent. It's just one of those drafts where if you need a quarterback, you don't draft one unless you're picking first. Then take him. But Trinidad, I think I would like to see him go to a team with um like the 49ers.
I
Go
like
and just
that.
learn how to play quarterback.
Yeah,
Just go learn how to play quarterback. Because like what hurts a lot of these young quarterbacks is actually playing, especially if they're not like the starter with like a long leash where they get to mess up and kind of grow into their role. How some of the all-time greats got to do. Peyton Manning, people 28 interceptions first year. He got to grow into being a Peyton of great. A lot of these guys don't get that same leash even as first round picks anymore. So I would like to see him go somewhere where he can learn how to play the position. And you play for Shanahan and learn that offense, you can learn any offense. That's like a thing. Like because the play calls, the system itself, the checks, the cans, the adjustments that you have to make as a quarterback are a little bit more extensive than at some other teams. But the 49ers, um,
I like Green Bay. If they lose Malik,
they look league be a great place to go sit.
because
Go
Love has
sit and
missed a lot of
learn.
time as well, by the way. So Trinidad would
Hmm
get playing time.
And Trinidad has the same mold as Malik.
Yeah,
They're very similar style players. To your point, I actually love that a lot.
I like the idea of
Trying to think.
Mi- Miami in like a round 3
Mm.
selection, where I think him and Jalen Waddle would be nice, and then let him compete with Quinn Ewers.
The
But it
issue
depends
comes
on who
is
the
that
head coach is going to be.
he's
That's the
going to
thing
have to
too.
play.
Yeah, but Quinn's there
He's going to
too.
play sooner than expected.
Yeah, yeah.
Quinn's there for now.
Hey, he balled out. I got faith in Quinn. You
Um,
think
who
Indianapolis makes
else?
sense?
I was thinking about that,
I don't know.
but
I don't know what Indianapolis is going to do. I
he's
have
going to
no clue.
do. That's what I'm saying because you got to think. Daniel Jones is coming off of he'll be coming off of
Achilles.
Achilles. He's not playing until he's activated off pup in week 8
Yeah.
minimum. Like, so do you Anthony Richardson, Trinidad Chambliss? Like, I mean, granted, I would play Trinidad. I
I would
would.
I would just give it to
Oh,
I'd give it to Anthony.
and just suck.
He was if he can stay healthy, he's shown flashes. He knows the system already. Yeah, I would just go Anthony there. Yeah.
I would have to see him. I would have to see him play in the preseason because everything I saw in college has transpired. He
Yeah.
doesn't like taking what teams give him.
Nope.
It,
Nope.
as a
You're right.
runner or passer. That's why he gets hurt. As a runner, take take 7 yards, run out of bounds. No, he wants to try to get the first down, lower his shoulder, get 10, hurt. Now he's out for 4 weeks. Or opposed to taking a 6 yard check down to Jonathan Taylor, a top five back, you want to push the ball downfield, force an interception. He has some control issues. He has not control. Just take what they give you. It's okay. Trinidad though, it's what about the Rams?
Yeah, I mean, you could put the Rams for almost any quarterback. That's like, yeah, it's an ideal spot for him. But yeah, I mean, you let him sit for a year or two behind Stafford, let him
With
develop
those
to be the
weapons,
yeah, let him be the QB1 a few years from now with Puka. They'll probably draft a receiver this year or next year
mhm,
with their draft assets and capital, and with you take off Stafford's contract, they'll have even more money to build around Chambliss. So I think any quarterback would love to go there, but Trinidad
I
specifically
would.
would be great. All right,
Oh man,
let's uh let's fire off a couple just kind of names real quick. I want to bring up Dejon Stribling,
I
who
like Stribling.
has been in college football for a few years now. Started off his career at Washington State, transferred to Oklahoma State. This past year, versus now is at Ole Miss. Has dealt with injuries throughout his career, but really having a great year on the season. 811 receiving yards, 55 receptions, and 6 touchdowns. Really, why he's kind of popped up in this video. 122 on 7 catches against Georgia, 77 for 5 catches versus Miami. He's a big physical receiver, 6'2". He's about 200 pounds. He's a little bit, I don't want to say thinner for his size, but he could probably put on a bit more pounds to his game. But 6 foot, physical receiver, can, really good after the catch. He shows toughness, good contact balance after the catch, can win some contested catches. I know you talked a bit earlier about you scouted him, at a high school or at other schools. What are your thoughts on him?
Yeah, I scouted him at when he was at Oklahoma State.
Oklahoma State.
But yep, yeah, no, I was a fan of his when I watched him this summer.
Hmm.
Um, because I did some scouting stuff, and he popped up as a transfer guy who, when I look at receivers who go to Ole Miss in college, at least they are good players. They're going to be productive because Lane is going to sling it. But we're talking about a guy who, though, to your point, he's not big, but he has some strength to him when he runs. He's quicker than you think. He plays. He has great ball skills, good body control. Like he's a somewhat of an old school X in terms of just lining up outside, winning outside the numbers. Like he can do that with his eyes closed, I think. Um, it's been impressive though to like watch him just kind of improve week in and week out in the playoffs. Like he got better through those first two games from the first game in Georgia to the second game in Georgia to that playoff game versus Miami. Like you saw him kind of step into the role of being a real number one receiver. That's why he kind of stood out to me. Like, granted, they have a bunch of other talented guys, but him as their primary, he made the offense better.
Any 2026 guys you can think of that before we start talking about some 27, and even I got a 28 guy we'll have to talk about.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I got a 28 guy that we
Yeah,
gotta talk about.
I'm sure we're thinking the same person.
Um,
I mean, we can really quickly. Francis Mauigoa has played great. Probably
yeah,
working
yes.
his way now into potentially being a top 10 pick. Playing at guard tackle. He's so physical.
Yeah,
He's so athletic for his size, but he's so big and strong. Can move people in the run game. Pushes people in the passing game. I think he's probably working his way into being that tackle slash guard number one in this class.
absolutely. You know who's also playing well? Carter Smith, Indiana.
Yeah, that whole Pat Coogan, throw them all in there. Throw them all in
They
there.
are playing. They are playing some like dominant. You can't mess with us type ball. Like they are playing so good.
I'm
It
really
it's not
fascinated.
fair.
I'm fascinated to see how they perform versus Miami.
100% because that
Carter
Miami
Smith.
D line is going to be healthy and they're deep.
Yeah. Because who has Indiana played so far this
Pass
postseason?
rushers,
Yeah, in terms of pass rushers.
they play Mateo at Oregon, but
Mm,
see, pass rushers don't really affect them the way they do other tackles because they're not left on the island because of their like the way they call games. Like
yeah,
it's a heavy RPO game, so you got to treat every pass like a run and every run like a pass until it's just straight third down drop back.
man.
Um, because even then, that's when you saw them struggle versus Oregon a little bit.
Yeah.
Was when they had this third and 9 plus, and they had just had to protect. That's when their physical limitations kind of kicked in. But that old line for Indiana's playing so well.
It's crazy looking at Carter Smith's numbers on the year. 93.7 pass blocking grade. He didn't give up a single hurry against Bama with Yanze Pierre. Was the
LT
Quay,
Overton,
LT Overton,
Quay,
Quay, and then Oregon zero
yeah.
zero hurries. And then Ohio State just a singular hurry versus Curry, Kenyatta Jackson, Arvell Reese, Sonny Styles. I mean, this guy, he's I think he's a severely underrated player, but I just wonder where
Yeah.
you're playing at guard, you're playing at tackle, but he's got the goods. And then Pat Coogan as well. Got to give him a shout out. Um,
Coog.
any other 26 guys you could think of?
26. Not off the top of my head.
All right, 27. Let's talk Kewan Lacey, who
He's so good.
he would be my early, and we haven't done a film study yet on a number of these 27 backs yet. At least I haven't. He would probably be, just kind of off the top of my head, my second ranked running back heading
Yeah.
into 27 behind Ahmad Hardy.
Yep.
But 24 touchdowns, 1,564 rushing yards. He has some fumbles, 3 fumbles on the year, 1 versus Georgia, but
Mm.
he made up for it in that game with a number of big time plays. And he's an okay. Let me see his receiving stats here real quick. Receiving, yeah, he needs to probably make a bit more work there, but 29 receptions for 177. He can definitely improve there. 5 drops in the year. Got to improve that one. But he's just not a big guy. He's 5'11", 210, but he's kind of a thicker built dude. But man, he
Yep.
runs with a power to him. Runs with great contact balance. Can get through arm tackles well. He's got that top end speed. Take the top off the defense. A lot of people thought he was transferring to LSU, but he said, "Nah, I'm sticking it out here one more year."
From what I hear, a lot of guys don't mess with Lane anymore. Like for all that's happened, they're like, "Yeah, I'd rather stay here and,
Shoot, I
and
wouldn't.
beat you."
I sure as
I
hell
wouldn't
wouldn't.
either.
We're in the middle
I
of the
wouldn't either.
playoff run. You're gonna leave me?
You just left us. All right, bro.
I
I
mean,
remember that. We play y'all next year.
ah. Well, it felt like
No,
the second Lane went to LSU, it was like, yeah, he's probably gonna pull in like 15 Ole Miss guys, just run through the roster. It's like he's maybe gotten like a few backup offensive linemen, a guy here and there, but not like he didn't get Trinidad, he
I like
didn't
you
get
thought.
Kewan.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but Kewan
Kewan
Lacey,
is
yeah,
Kewan is. I mean, good feet, patient runner. Crazy part is he started at Missouri.
yeah, he did. That's right.
He
Yeah,
was a freshman last year at Missouri.
yeah.
So had he stayed, it would have been him and Hardy. You talking about a two-headed monster running the ball? My
But
goodness,
it's the smart thing he left though, because he would not been able to get that full
he wouldn't have got
production.
the same amount of carries.
Nope.
No, because
Yeah.
he had 300 plus this year.
Yep.
So this was great fit for him. But I love the way he runs the ball because he is a bigger guy, but he runs with his shoulders over his toes, always like trying to finish forward. The first guy usually doesn't get him down either. Like I noticed that,
Mm-hmm.
like even if it's penetration blitzes, he has really good feet to make guys miss or just buy some time to just try to get 2-3 yards. But he's very patient and he does a really good job of setting up his blocks. Like his run versus Georgia, like the long touchdown run.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Watch it, like him and the backer are entering like the same way, and it's exactly what backers are taught, safeties are taught, same thing. And then he gives him like a little nod, and he allows the guard to capture him.
Mm-hmm.
Then he sticks his foot in the ground,
Gone.
and I mean 80, 88 out the gate, can't. And like he's faster than you think.
Well,
But
and
I
then
didn't realize he was that fast.
on that run, he starts slowing down. Guy starts catching up to him. He looks at the monitor. He's like, "Oh shit!" And he just
And
zooms
it
right
kept
off.
going like,
Yeah.
"Bro, that's why you finished the first time,
That's
man."
why he's a
But no,
sophomore. Yeah, it's great.
he's a hell of a football player.
I got a Alabama guy, Yanze Pierre, who,
Oh, the
man,
pass rusher?
I was hoping
Yeah,
he'd come out this year, but I
yeah.
do like the idea that he returned to college because there's so many guys kind of like him this year, 6'3",
Mhm.
248. I just think he's a different type of beast. He's so powerful, strong. He's got good
Yep.
bend. But in the game versus Indiana, 2 sacks. It's kind of funny how this guy works. Like he's either getting 2 sacks or no sacks on the year. Like he had through the first 5 or 6 weeks of the season, he had 1 sack. Then he had 2 versus Tennessee, where they have a pretty solid offensive line.
Yeah.
2 versus LSU, 2 versus Oklahoma, and then 2 versus Indiana. It's kind of just I hope that the further along he gets through his progression, he starts to be able to actually put more
Put it
consistency out
together.
there from one week to the
Yeah.
next week. But he's got the goods. He could be a first round talent next year off the edge. I would have had him as a day 2 pick this year, but going back for one more year, developing, getting a little bit better,
Smart.
he could end up kind of being that third or fourth ranked pass rusher behind Stewart, Simmons, and somebody else.
Yeah. And to your point about this year, he would have just fell into like the lump of guys
Yep.
who are built like him.
There's so many like
And
him.
yeah, but also to your other point, he has explosive hand. He's explosive. He can bend, powerful hands. Like he sticks out in that way. Um, but he has to learn how. Like he needs an arsenal, like a
Yeah.
plan. You can see sometimes he's just playing on pure reactions and
Talents, instincts.
talent, athleticism, instinct. Like that's all he's playing on. He's not playing on the fact that this tackle's gonna overset because he's worried about my speed and okay, I'm gonna set him up 2 steps up. Come on, like he doesn't play with the football IQ of a seasoned veteran, which he is not. So it makes sense. So next year you just don't want to see the same things. You want
Yep.
to see a lack of a plan because then he's gonna fall into that high upside, low floor because he just didn't take that jump. But he is a talented player. Like and it's almost like once he kind of like gets going, like once he gets one or like makes a play, they're coming. They are coming, and there's not too much you can do about it.
I don't know. Where is it? Caden Curry? Is he coming out this year or next year?
Should be next year.
Yeah, he's. Oh no, Kenyatta
Should
Jackson's
be next year.
returning.
Yeah, Jackson is returning to Ohio State,
Let me see.
which is
Caden Curry though, he had a really good game versus.
he has one more year though, right?
I thought he did, but PFF has him listed as draft eligible this year, but they're way off on that
Well,
one.
yeah,
But
because well,
he's been
no,
good
no,
this year
because
though.
he is a fourth year senior technically,
Let me see.
yeah, he's a fourth year senior based on
Um.
based on the new rule they're trying to pass. He would be able to stay and play a fifth year. He's played a lot of football.
Yeah. Well, if he is in this draft or if not, I can't. Honestly, there's not a lot of clarity, but he had a really good year this year.
He
12
did.
sacks on the season, and the game versus Indiana, he had 2 sacks. Versus Miami, a lot more of a quiet day, but he's kind of he's another one of these guys that just needs to find that consistency one week to the next week because
Yep.
one week he's dominating 2 or 3 sacks, the next week he's very quiet. And
Yep.
if you look at where a lot of his productivity came from this year, it was against bad competition. 1 sack versus Grambling, 2 versus Ohio, 1 Wisconsin, 1 Illinois. But then, he has a game against Michigan with the sack. They have some good pieces. Game versus Indiana towards the end of the year. So Caden Curry, we'll have to follow up to see if he's in the draft or not. But and then got to talk about the 2028 guy. Do you have one more 27 guy?
Nope. I don't want to talk about one guy. He's so good.
Malachi Tony?
He's he's so good, bro.
All right, you got the floor.
Like
Go ahead.
it's so like I randomly said during a lot of football games, but it's about very specific people and like based on how I say it tells you how good they really are. I was watching the game and my wife said something to me. I'm like, come look at this kid. And like she sees like a couple plays and he goes, do you like him in this year's draft? I said, this year's draft, he can't even drink yet.
Nope.
I'm like, that's how good this dude
Young
is.
buck, man.
Like he's young and he's on the shorter side or smaller side, but he's strong. He has great contact balance. He's explosive. Like he is a game wrecker. Like you just got to give him the ball. That's what makes him like so fun to me. To me, he is a poor man's version of Percy Harvin, and I was a big Percy Harvin guy.
Mm.
Like he's not as big because Percy was 6 foot 215. Because
Hmm.
I remember game he started at running back versus the Packers and had 100 yards rushing. Like he was different in that way. But they're similar in the way that at any moment they touch the ball, like you got to stop and just kind of hold your breath. Like when you get a screen over the like the tunnel screen he scored on versus Ole Miss, all you see is flash and then a bunch of blue waves, and he's cut, bounce off a tackle, touchdown. And it just happens so fast. And I love watching him play. He is fun to watch play. Like he is so fun. And like he's so competitive. Like you see the way he competes and finish runs and finish plays. Like I love that. Love it, love it, love it. Such a good player.
All right, Malachi Tony, we'll talk about you 2 years down the road, but man, you are a different player, man. He's a total stud, and I'm excited to see him in the national championship. But B Ross, anything else you want to bring up before we end out the video? Oh, first off, what's your prediction for the championship game?
I was about to ask you that. Give me a score.
So I was right last week. I had Miami winning, and I had Indiana winning. I'm gonna go.
Hmm,
I could see Bain and Mesidor taking over this game,
I can too.
but I just trust Ignetti so much. I
I
just
do
think
too.
he's so unbelievable. So I lean towards Indiana winning. I think Indiana wins 30 to 20. 30-20 in favor of Indiana.
All right. Yeah. Like I'm right there with you. Like I think
I
Signetti,
They're so
like
well
Coach
coached.
Signetti, they're so well coached. Like when you look at all of his programs, though, it's the same formula. Like they're so well coached. Not a lot of penalties, not a lot of missed tackles, not a lot of mistakes. They don't beat themselves.
Mm-hmm.
That's this Indiana team. That Miami team, they beat themselves.
Yeah.
Like whether it's missed assignments, missed tackles, dropped interceptions, like they have beat themselves. They have been talented enough to recover, but sometimes they haven't been. But I'm going to take Indiana 27-24.
Okay. 37-24. They were about the same area. If Miami wants to win this
27.
game,
27-24.
27-24. Okay. If
Yeah.
Miami wants to win this game, it's got to be a large dose of consistent run game with Mark Fletcher, pushing these dudes off the line of scrimmage, taking over the game, winning time of possession, limiting turnovers, and defensively, you have to make plays. Keontae Scott interceptions are going to be big, getting after the quarterback, stuffing the run
Yep.
themselves. It's going to be a big
That's
day
the
for them.
that's the thing is like in the back of my mind, I'm thinking if Mark Fletcher goes for over 100 yards, Miami wins. Calling it right now. If he's rushing over 100 yards,
Mm,
because that means they're taking the ball out of Carson Beck's hands to even make mistakes.
yeah.
If Mark Fletcher goes for 100, Tony's going to get his always and forever. But if
Yeah.
Mark Fletcher goes over 100, that Indiana defense, like you eliminate that talented secondary. Like you just like it's nothing they could do because 6'2", 225, and he catches Pons on the edge, 5'9", 175. We'll see physics play a factor. Like if Mark Fletcher has over 100, no matter what I say, Miami wins. If Miami has more than 2 sacks, 2 or 3 sacks, I think it's certain numbers that Miami has to hit on both sides of the ball, they win the game. It's just because that's how they win. They win with the run game and the great pass rush. If those two things marry up, it doesn't matter what Carson Beck does. Does not matter.
All right, guys. Well, let us know in the comment section below. What are your thoughts on some of the standouts we talked about, and what are your thoughts on the national championship? Let us know in the comment section below. If you're new, hit the like and subscribe button. We appreciate all those who watch live and all those who are watching after. B Russ, get us out of here.
Hey, appreciate everyone tuning in. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to First and 10. We made it to 1K. We're on the road to 2K, and we wouldn't be here without y'all. So thank you. Make sure you tell your wife, tell your girl.